Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving deep into AI text-to-speech app development today.
Yeah, these apps that can read articles out loud for you or books.
Even translate languages on the fly. It's pretty wild.
It is.
We've got a ton of research here, ready to break it all down.
Yeah, like how these apps actually work.
What the market looks like,
Yeah.
and even how you could develop one yourself if you wanted to.
It's really interesting how fast this whole field is advancing.
It is.
We're seeing AI text-to-speech or, TTS go from that robotic monotone sound
Right.
to voices that are pretty much indistinguishable from a human.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
It is.
And, the market is definitely reflecting all this growth.
Yeah.
Our research shows that this market was valued at about $1.2 billion in 2022.
Wow.
And it's projected to hit almost $5 billion by 2032.
That's a huge jump.
It is huge.
It makes sense, though. There's a big shift towards voice-based tech happening.
Right.
Think about, accessibility.
Language learning, making everyday things hands-free.
It's exciting.
It is.
Okay, so we've got this booming market, a ton of potential.
Right.
But how does this tech actually work? Turning text into spoken words seems really complicated.
It is complex, but we can break it down.
Okay.
First, imagine the text being prepped, cleaned up,
Okay.
formatted,
Uh-huh.
divided into chunks that the AI can handle.
So kind of like prepping ingredients before you cook?
Yeah, a perfect analogy.
I like it.
Then you've got linguistic analysis.
Okay.
The AI uses natural language processing, or NLP, to really dig into the grammar, the sentence structure,
Yeah.
even the meaning behind the words.
So it's not just reading words aloud, it's understanding them.
Exactly.
Wow.
Like figuring out the recipe, not just reading the ingredients.
Okay.
And then we get to the part where the AI actually makes sound.
Okay.
That's where these things called acoustic and prosodic models come in.
Right.
They take those linguistic features and map them to sound, adding rhythm, stress, intonation.
So that's how it goes from a flat reading to something that sounds like a person.
Right.
That makes sense.
You mentioned deep learning and neural networks earlier.
I did.
They're essential here.
Okay. How so?
By training on massive data sets of text and audio, these networks learn to produce really natural-sounding speech.
That's pretty amazing.
It is.
And it's cool that in some apps you can actually customize the voice,
Yeah.
choosing different accents or speeds.
Like having a personal narrator. It's really cool.
So we've talked about the how. Now let's talk about the what features make a TTS app truly great, the kind of app that you, the listener, would actually use.
I think first and foremost, the voices have to be good.
Okay.
Natural sounding, diverse, a range of accents and genders.
Makes sense. Nobody wants to listen to a robot for hours.
Right.
Multi-language support is also really important.
The game changer.
It opens up so many possibilities, especially for language learning.
Absolutely.
I think customization is huge, too.
Yeah.
Being able to adjust the speed, pitch, volume, even tailor it to different types of content.
It's essential for a good user experience.
Absolutely.
It is.
And then for people working in specific fields, pronunciation accuracy is crucial.
Oh, for sure.
The app needs to be able to handle unusual words, jargon,
Acronyms.
all of that,
Yeah.
without missing a beat.
A good TTS app should be smart enough to know how to pronounce things based on context.
Right, and avoid those awkward mispronunciations.
Exactly.
I think natural pausing and breath control is also essential.
It makes a big difference
It really does.
between a robotic reading and something that's actually engaging to listen to.
Think about how a human speaker pauses.
That takes a breath.
Right, a good app should be able to do that too.
Exactly.
I personally love apps that have real-time text highlighting.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
It's so much easier to follow along, especially if you're using it for learning
For sure.
or if you want to make sure you're catching every single word.
Absolutely. It helps with comprehension and engagement.
It does.
And then there are the more practical things like offline mode.
Right.
Essential for anyone who wants to use the app on the go without needing internet.
Makes sense.
And of course, the app should work on different devices
Right. Your phone, tablet, computer, all of that.
seamlessly.
It should just work.
Exactly. Smooth user experience is key.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've got a good picture of the must-have features.
We do.
But now let's talk about building these apps.
Okay.
Say someone listening has a great idea for a TTS app.
Right.
Where do they even begin?
I think it all starts with having a clear vision.
Okay.
Like building a house, you need a blueprint.
I like that.
So you need to define your objectives.
Okay.
Like, who is your target audience? What problem are you solving?
What are the key features that will make your app stand out?
Exactly.
So you're saying it's important to start with a solid plan,
Yes.
a clear understanding of what you want to achieve with the app.
Exactly.
I got it.
And once you have that blueprint, you can move on to the tech.
Okay, so you've got your plan, your vision for the app. What are the options for the tech itself?
You could use pre-existing TTS APIs.
Okay.
Think of them as like ready-made building blocks you can plug in.
Okay.
Some popular ones are Google Text-to-Speech API, Amazon, Mozilla TTS.
So that's probably the quickest and easiest way to get started.
Yeah, especially if you have a limited budget or you need to get it done fast.
Right. That makes sense.
If you want more control over the voice and the features,
Okay.
if you want to build something unique,
Yeah.
then building a custom TTS model is the way to go.
And that's where those deep learning frameworks come in, right?
Yes.
Like TensorFlow.
TensorFlow, PyTorch.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So custom models give you more flexibility, but they need more expertise.
Right.
And if you go the custom route, what's the next step?
You need data to train your model.
Oh, okay.
High quality data.
What kind of data are we talking about?
A massive data set of text and speech,
Wow.
covering all sorts of language styles, accents, nuances.
I imagine that takes a lot of work to put together.
You can be a big task, but it's essential for good quality speech output.
Right, the foundation for success.
Exactly.
Okay, so you've got your data, then what?
You set up your development environment,
Okay.
install the tools, libraries, frameworks you'll need.
So it's kind of like gathering your tools before building something?
Yeah, like building furniture or something.
Exactly.
And make sure you get familiar with the documentation for the TTS engine or framework you're using.
Okay.
That'll be your guide.
Tools are ready, documentation is open, what's next?
Now you implement the TTS model.
Okay.
If you're using a pre-built API,
Right.
you integrate that into your app's backend.
Okay.
If you're building a custom model,
Yeah.
you'll be pre-processing your data building and training the model.
That sounds complicated.
It can be,
Why?
but there are resources out there to help.
And Python skills are important here, right?
Yes, Python is the go-to for most AI development.
Got it.
Don't be afraid to experiment and try different things to see what works best.
Good advice.
And the model is implemented, trained, ready. What's next?
Okay, what's next?
Now it's all about the user.
Okay.
You got to develop that app interface.
Make it look good.
Make it easy to use, visually appealing.
So design skills are important here.
Absolutely.
You want people to enjoy using your app.
Exactly. Easy to navigate, clear options for input, language selection, voice customization.
Right, all those features we talked about earlier.
Exactly.
Interface is looking sharp. What's next?
Integrate your TTS engine into the app's backend.
Okay.
This is where you connect the brains of the operation to the controls.
Making sure the app can talk to the TTS engine and actually generate speech when someone inputs text.
Exactly. And this integration needs to be tested thoroughly.
Of course, we don't want any hiccups.
Right.
Testing is crucial. What else should we be thinking about at this stage?
Additional features,
Okay.
language translation text, highlighting offline mode.
Right, all those things that make the app stand out.
Think about what your target audience really needs and implement those features.
Okay, features are in, integration is tested. Everything's working smoothly. Final step.
Rigorous testing.
Of course.
Put the app through its paces, find any bugs, make sure it works flawlessly across different devices.
Like quality control.
Exactly. Good analogy. It makes a big difference about a smooth launch and a frustrating user experience.
Totally agree. Testing is key.
It is.
Okay, testing is done. Bugs are squashed. What's next?
Launch time.
That must feel amazing.
It does.
But the work doesn't stop there, right?
No, you need to monitor user feedback, track
Yeah.
performance, make updates and improvements.
So it's an ongoing process.
Exactly. Tech is always changing.
Right, the app needs to keep up.
Absolutely.
Okay, before we move on, let's talk about cost.
Sure.
Developing an AI text-to-speech app can be expensive, so it's important to understand what impacts those costs.
Definitely budget is a big consideration,
It is.
but the good news is cost can vary a lot,
Okay,
so you have flexibility.
so let's break it down. What are the major factors that impact the cost of developing a TTS app?
Functionality and features are a big one.
Okay.
Basic TTS will be more affordable than something with all the bells and whistles.
So like choosing between a basic car and one with all the fancy options?
Exactly.
Right.
You got to balance the features with your budget.
Right. What about the tech choices?
Those matter too.
Okay.
Pre-existing TTS APIs are usually more cost-effective than building a custom model.
But custom models give you more control.
Right, it's a trade-off.
Makes sense.
You have to weigh the pros and cons.
And the data we talked about, that's
Yeah.
a factor too, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
especially for custom models.
Okay.
Getting, cleaning, processing all that data can be expensive.
So factor that in.
Absolutely. And remember, more data usually means better results.
But it also costs more.
Right.
What about making the app work on different platforms,
That too.
like iOS and Android?
Yeah, that can take more time and resources.
So supporting more platforms generally means higher costs.
Generally, yes.
Okay.
But it depends on your target audience too.
Right.
Think about where they're most likely to use your app.
Good point. Okay. What about user interface and design?
Those are important too.
Okay.
A good interface can make a big difference.
It's not just about the tech behind the scenes, it's about how it looks and feels.
Exactly. Aesthetics and usability are key.
Investing in good design can make your app stand out.
Absolutely.
And testing and quality assurance.
Can't forget about those.
They impact the cost as well, right?
Yes, you need to allocate enough time and resources for thorough testing.
To make sure everything is working smoothly.
Right, but that adds to the cost.
So no cutting corners on testing.
Definitely not.
What about integrating with other services or databases?
That depends on the complexity.
Okay.
If you need to connect with other platforms or get data from external sources,
Yeah.
you'll have to factor in those costs.
So the more connected the app, the higher the costs.
Generally, yes, but those connections can add a lot of value too.
Right. They expand what the app can do.
Exactly.
We can't forget about security and privacy,
Absolutely essential.
especially if the app handles sensitive data.
It's important to invest in robust security.
No cutting corners there.
Definitely not.
What about ongoing maintenance and updates?
Those are important too.
Okay.
App development isn't a one-time expense.
Right. You need to keep it running smoothly and up to date.
Exactly like owning a car.
Regular maintenance.
Exactly.
Lastly, how does the expertise of the development team impact the cost?
That's a big one.
Okay.
Experienced developers cost more.
But they can also save you money in the long run.
Right. They can,
Hey.
by avoiding costly mistakes and delays.
Makes sense. Think of it as an investment in quality.
Exactly.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive.
We have
We explored what AI, text-to-speech is how it works,
key features.
the development process, the cost factors.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up this part, let's look at some of the top AI text-to-speech apps out there right now.
Good idea. It's always inspiring to see what's already out there.
Let's highlight a few apps focusing on their unique features and who they're for.
Okay, first up, Murph.
Okay, I've heard of Murph.
Known for its wide range of features, language support, and customization options.
It's a popular one.
It is.
What about Speechify?
Speechify is really popular with people who have difficulty reading.
Okay,
High-quality voices and features designed to make reading easier.
that's great.
Lovo.ai is a good one for live narration.
Okay.
It has custom voices and audio expert options.
Sounds useful for content creators.
Definitely.
What about Synthesis?
Synthesis is great for creating realistic talking avatars.
Oh, wow.
Good for professional voiceovers.
Very cool.
And then Listener.
Listener.
It's newer, but it's gaining popularity.
What makes it stand out?
It's really easy to use, affordable,
Okay.
and has natural-sounding voices.
So many options.
It's amazing.
It's great how different apps cater to different needs.
It is, and this field is constantly evolving.
So there's always something new to discover. We've covered so much ground in this first part of our deep dive.
I know, right?
We've explored the world of AI text-to-speech app development, from understanding how the tech works to breaking down the development process.
And even highlighting some of the top apps in the market.
It's been a fascinating journey so far.
It has. And there's more to come.
Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll dive even deeper into the technical side of things.
We'll be exploring all the tools and technologies that make all this possible.
It's going to be great.
Welcome back to our deep dive.
All right, in this part, we're getting into the tech stack.
Yeah, the nuts and bolts of it all.
Peeking under the hood.
Exactly. We'll explore the tools and technologies that make these apps work.
Let's start with programming languages.
Okay.
What are the go-to languages for building these apps?
Python and JavaScript are the big ones.
Python, the language of AI.
Right. It's versatile, readable, and has a ton of libraries perfect for AI development.
So it's a good choice for text-to-speech.
Oh yeah, definitely. And JavaScript is important for integrating the tech into web apps.
Right, making those interactive interfaces.
Exactly. It bridges the AI and the user experience.
Okay, so Python for the AI, heavy lifting JavaScript for the user side.
Makes sense.
Now let's talk about the text-to-speech engines themselves.
The heart of it all.
Right at the core of everything.
Some of the most popular ones are Google Text-to-Speech API Amazon, Poly, Microsoft, Azure, TTS, API.
The big tech companies are all over this.
It's true they've put a lot of resources into AI, and their TTS engines are really sophisticated.
So if you're using one of those APIs, you don't need to build the whole model from scratch.
Nope, you can just use their existing models and focus on the user experience.
That sounds a lot easier.
It is.
Yeah.
But what about controlling the finer details of the speech?
Okay, yeah, like the rhythm, intonation, pauses, all that.
That's where SSML comes. Speech synthesis markup language.
SSML sounds technical.
It is a bit, but think of it like adding notes to sheet music.
Okay.
You could use SSML tags to control things like the speaking rate, pitch, volume, emphasis, even add pauses and breaths.
So it's like telling the AI how to read the text.
Exactly. You're fine-tuning the prosody, the nuances that make speech sound natural.
Okay, I get it. Now let's talk about those deep learning frameworks.
Right.
We mentioned them when we talked about custom models.
The tools that let you create your own AI.
Right, like TensorFlow.
TensorFlow and PyTorch are the big ones.
I've heard of TensorFlow. It's used for all sorts of AI stuff.
It's open source, developed by Google,
Mm-hmm.
and used for all sorts of machine learning models, including TTS.
What about PyTorch? What's that all about?
PyTorch is another open source framework originally from Facebook,
Okay.
known for being flexible and user-friendly. A lot of researchers and developers like it.
So both can be used to build custom TTS models?
Yes, it often comes down to personal preference or the specific needs of the project.
Right, makes sense now. Before we can train those models, we need data.
Lots of data.
What tools are used to prepare all that data?
NumPy and Pandas are essential.
NumPy, that's a math library, right?
It's great for working with numerical data in Python cleaning, transforming all that.
And pandas.
Pandas builds on NumPy and offers more advanced tools for data analysis.
So it's like a powerful spreadsheet for Python.
Exactly. Perfect for organizing and cleaning data.
Okay, so NumPy for the number crunching, pandas for the data organization.
Right.
Now, what about natural language processing?
Important for understanding the text itself.
Right. Are there specific libraries for that?
Spacey and NLTK are popular choices.
Spacey, is that like a play on words?
It is. It's a modern library designed for efficiency and real-world use.
Right.
Great for breaking down text, tagging parts of speech, recognizing entities, analyzing sentence structure.
So it helps you make sense of the text.
Exactly.
And NLTK, how's that different?
NLTK is more research-oriented, offers a wider range of functions like text classification, sentiment analysis, topic modeling.
So Spacey for practical stuff, NLTK for deeper analysis.
Right.
Got it. We talked about JavaScript being important for the web side of things. Are there specific frameworks commonly used?
Flask and Django are two popular Python web frameworks.
Flask, I'm guessing that's lightweight?
It is known for its simplicity and flexibility, great for smaller projects.
Okay, and Django.
Django is more comprehensive, comes with a lot built-in good for bigger projects or teams who like more structure.
So Flask for simplicity, Django for a more all-in-one approach.
Makes sense.
What about databases? Do TTS apps usually need one?
They often do, especially if you have user accounts or are dealing with a lot of data.
Okay.
PostgreSQL, MySQL, SQLite are popular choices.
Familiar names. I've heard them used for other web apps too.
They're reliable.
Yeah.
PostgreSQL is known for being robust. MySQL for its ease of use. SQLite for being lightweight, good for smaller projects.
Okay, so we've covered the back-end stuff, the languages, frameworks, databases.
Right.
What about the front end? What's used to build the user interface?
Back to JavaScript for that one. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript are the core technologies.
It's a classic trio.
Exactly. HTML for structure, CSS for styling, JavaScript for interactivity.
They all work together to make the interface look good and function well.
Right. And we can't forget version control.
Oh yeah, important for managing the code and collaborating.
Git is the go-to for that.
Git, the developer's best friend, helps you track changes, go back to older versions, work together without messing things up.
Exactly like a time machine for your code.
Love it. Okay, last question. Once the app is built and tested, how do you actually get it out there for people to use?
Cloud services and deployment platforms are key.
Okay.
AWS, GCP, Azure are the big names, offering a range of services for hosting, deploying, and scaling apps.
So these are like the virtual spaces where your app lives.
Exactly. They provide the infrastructure, servers, storage, networking, everything you need to make your app accessible.
That's really cool. What about CI/CD?
Continuous integration, continuous deployment.
Right.
It's a set of practices that automate building, testing, and deploying updates.
So it keeps things running smoothly.
Exactly. Tools like Jenkins or CircleCI are used to implement CI/CD pipelines.
Wow, we've gone over a lot of information. It's a lot to take in.
It is. It's amazing how many tools and technologies are involved in making these apps.
It shows how collaborative software development is. And the power of open source tools?
So for someone just starting out, where do they begin?
Start by thinking about a specific problem you want to solve or an audience you want to reach.
Oh.
Then research the tools that are best suited for that purpose.
So start small, find a niche.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to experiment, learn, and adapt along the way.
Wow. We covered so much in this deep dive: the booming market, the inner workings of AI, TTS, all the features, the development process, cost factors, even looking at some of the top apps out there. It's been a lot.
It really has been quite a journey through the world of AI text-to-speech app development. But before we wrap things up,
Yeah.
I think it's worth taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture.
Right. We've talked a lot about the how, but what about the why? Like, where is all of this going?
Exactly. As AI voices get more and more realistic,
Right. It raises some interesting questions about like the future of communication and content creation.
it's already changing how we listen to things, with audiobooks and podcasts using AI narrators.
Yeah, and virtual assistants are getting more conversational all the time.
It's true.
Imagine like personalized news feeds read aloud in your own synthesized voice,
Whoa.
or interactive learning experiences, with historical figures who can talk to you.
That would be wild.
AI storytellers crafting immersive narratives just for you.
Those are some incredible possibilities.
And it's not just about entertainment. Think about accessibility.
Right.
AI TTS can give a voice to people who might not have one.
That's a really powerful thought.
It is.
As AI text-to-speech keeps evolving, it's going to change how we interact with technology and with each other.
For sure.
This has been a truly fascinating deep dive into this field.
It has, and we hope it's made you curious to learn more.
Maybe even inspired you to build your own AI voice apps.
That would be awesome.
That's it for our deep dive into the world of AI text-to-speech app development. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those voices resonating.